Welcome to the 1 to 9 podcast for interesting insights and knowledge from animals and other beings within multidimensional realms. Hello, Diana.
Hello, Karen.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Today, we're so lucky we have these absolutely gorgeous sunflowers, these little goddesses joining our podcast right from actually my tree box out in front of my house. And we have some sunflower seeds that are organic and have been carefully roasted and dried. And then we also have some carrots from my sister's farm that are extremely happy and bright orange and just a little tufts of green coming off the top of them. And Diana has said for some reason that the sunflowers and the carrots want to join the podcast together today.
Yes, because they're both happy. They're really, really happy. Not just today, but in general, they're happy.
Now, are these sunflowers representing and carrots representing all sunflowers and carrots, or just them themselves?
Well, both. They represent them themselves as individuals, but also they speak for all sunflowers. I don't know how many varieties of sunflowers there are.
Quite a few. We keep making more.
Oh, well.
Giant. You have the mammoth ones, the giant ones, the little ones, the wild ones, the red ones, the Indian sunflowers. They're all different colors.
Okay, well, they can speak in general terms for all sunflowers, but for specifics, they're talking just about themselves individually and then their own breed,
okay,
their own kind.
And the carrots the same thing, because there's all different kinds of carrots as well.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, everybody.
So the carrots are joking. They're saying, we're drowning.
Because the carrots are actually being stored in some water right now. But it's a joke, right? They don't want me to save them?
No, they're saying they're nice and cool. They really like the coolness.
So for any of you that are curious, these are carrots that have not been cut, but I'm in a large mason jar, so I don't have to squish them in there at all. And they've got water, and so they're kind of basking in some cool water. And that goes in my fridge.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of saying, we're out for a swim.
We're up for a swim? All right. So
just don't keep us in there too long.
How long is too long?
2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days?
Yeah. And
then what happens?
Well, I know. I mean, they say stuff kind of like leaches out of their skin.
Oh, okay. So
they don't get pruny like humans do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still, their skin is kind of porous.
So carrots can stick around a long time.
Oh yeah, you can store them forever.
What's the best way to store them to not lose their the stuff that's coming out of them, and what is it that's coming out of them? I guess there's two questions in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, nutrients are coming out of them,
not their energy.
Well, nutrients are one of the components that actually make up their energy too. So if they lose all their nutrients, of course they're going to lose their energy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So they're, from the day that they're freshly picked, are they at maximum energy then?
Maximum energy when they're picked. And if they're stored in a nice cool place, their energy is going to be kind of like conserved.
And storing, you mean like plucking them out of the ground and putting them in cold storage?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a fridge.
Right.
Just not hot and humid.
Right. Okay. A dry, cold storage somewhere.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be in water.
No, they don't have to be in water.
And you should or shouldn't wash them first?
Before you store them?
Yeah.
No, don't wash them.
Don't wash them.
Don't wash them. No. Yeah.
What is it about washing the carrots that makes them...
They're saying it's like washing out off a protective coating.
Okay. All right. About washing them before you eat them?
You can if you want to.
All right. Either way.
You don't have to.
All right. Or maybe you can just rinse them to get the loose dirt off them, but not really scrub them.
Yeah. I mean, of course, if they've been grown in soil that has got chemicals in it, then perhaps you actually do want to scrub them more thoroughly.
Oh, okay. Do they like the chemicals?
No, they do not like the chemicals.
Oh, yeah, that seems to be pretty universal.
Yeah, no.
Does that reduce their energy, their nutrient level, or make them not as happy, or
makes
what
them
happens?
not as happy? They're kind of like, like 50 to 75% less effective.
Okay.
I mean, it's like any other kind of living being, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're putting in stuff that's good for it, it's going to be 100% effective. But if you're kind of like putting in lesser quality components to make them grow, or even toxic kind of stuff,
It goes down.
effectiveness goes down.
And I'm assuming that the energy of the farm and the pickers and all that stuff affects them as well.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a happier farmer, a happier carrot.
Definitely. If you have, yeah. Although, they've got their own consciousnesses, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they can determine whether or not to kind of like shake off bad vibes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting to know. So is the carrot, the carrot has its own consciousness and it carries with it some of the energy. And do we eat that? Do we take that on when we eat it? Their energy?
Yes, that's part of their mission.
That's part of their mission, is to share their consciousness with us. And why would we want a carrot consciousness?
Because they're joyful, they're happy, they're contributing essential nutrients to whoever eats them.
Are they? But as far as the consciousness goes, so if we eat a happy carrot, we could actually become happier.
Yeah. They're saying they hope so. Yeah.
They hope so. And happiness helps, and this is kind of like we're drawing this conclusion, but happiness helps to navigate life a whole lot better, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, you don't want to be sad and depressed and angry and hateful.
No, of course you don't. But I'm just I'm relating being happier to expanding your consciousness somehow.
Yes. Yeah.
And raising your energy.
Yeah. And I think this is kind of evident from actually who want to participate in these podcasts.
Oh, okay.
Like before this started, we were talking about, how there's these other energy beings who just want to observe.
Yeah, we have. And I had to put bleachers all around the podcast.
Yeah, and I think it's because we're talking to plants and vegetables and flowers.
Right. So why did the carrots want to be with the flowers?
Because they're both happy.
Okay. Like an equal happiness, or is one happier than the other?
No, it's not. You can't measure. So like,
it's a different kind of happiness.
Yeah. There's the carrot happiness, and then there's the sunflower happiness. And you put them together, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Okay.
Did I say that right?
So what if we did something like, took the sunflower seeds and ground them up and made them into, and cooked the carrots and the sunflower seeds and made it into like a soup? Would they love that?
Yes, they would.
And then we'd be combining it would be like a super happy soup. Is this carrot sunflower soup?
Right.
Or smoothie.
Smoothie or salad. I mean, if you put carrots and sunflower seeds
in the same salad. You've got two different kinds of consciousnesses of happiness playing around together.
Right.
And that's the seeds. What about these flowers sitting here? We have the sunflower seeds and the sunflower flowers, and the flowers are all like, wah, they're just vibrating this bright yellow. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them here with this bright yellows, and they're just at the point where they're still forming the seeds inside. The centers are dropping bright yellow pollen all over the table.
Yeah, the bright yellow color is basically that's the generator of their happiness. Just like the bright orange color is the generator of the carrot happiness.
Okay, so we're eating almost like yellow happiness and orange happiness.
Yes.
But when you're dealing with the seeds, do you have the yellow happiness in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do.
So they're like they're taking the light from the sun or the light around them and synthesizing it or alchemizing it into the seeds, which we eat.
Oh, they're taking everything, not just from the sun, the air,
the earth,
the water.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I guess they're saying you can eat
the sunflower itself.
Yeah, and the pollen too.
Oh, yeah, the pollen is edible. The flower, the petals, the yellow petals are edible, right?
Yeah.
And some people I've seen take a whole sunflower, just as we're looking at it, and put it on the stove and cook it.
Like an artichoke.
Like an artichoke.
Eat the inside.
Put some olive oil on it and eat the seeds and everything in their green state intact at the sunflower. What do they think about that?
Oh, they love that. Really. Because that's when they're feeling the most useful.
Uh-huh. So do they think that, I mean, most people don't eat the petals. And what do they think about eating the petals?
Oh, they think if people want to, they should eat them.
Okay. Are there sunflower flower fairies in those flowers, or little goddesses?
They're actually quite small. I was thinking perhaps they'd be bigger. But no, they're about like half an inch tall.
One fairy per flower?
No, there's more of them. They seem to be coming out of the seed part too.
Oh, interesting.
That's where they live. Huh.
Did the fairies, were they happier outside or inside picked?
You mean the flowers after they're picked?
Yeah, and the fairies. Like, did they because I basically took them from outside.
Right. Well, I mean, they do realize that they're going to slowly die, right? But they're okay with that because that's what happens.
So, just as an experiment, if I took this entire head of a sunflower and like 2 or 3 carrots and and just put them in a blender together with some water and raw, like everything raw, what would they think about that?
They would say, "Ooh, yippee," you know.
Do they think that would like just generate this huge amount of like whole varieties and depths of happiness?
You mean increase the happiness?
Yeah.
Or makes it more usable?
Well, I'm just trying to think of ways to consume them, the sunflowers, because we're so used to just consuming the sunflower seeds.
Right.
And if you went out and picked a whole sunflower head and threw it in a blender with the carrots, or in a blender with anything, but in a blender with the carrots, would that be a good way to eat them?
Oh, yeah. You're saying yes, it would be a good way.
And that would be raw.
Because they're raw.
Right. So the raw was one way to eat them, and cook the whole thing is another way to eat it. And to, add the petals to anything like salads or...
Right.
Was another way to eat it.
Right. So they're saying, raw, steamed, lightly cooked. Yeah, that's all great. And also, the carrots. Don't forget our carrot tops.
Oh, what about the carrot tops?
They're also really good to eat.
Okay. Well, those carrot tops get thrown away all the time.
I know.
In fact, these carrots came without their carrot tops.
That made them a little bit sad.
Really? So sometimes people say the carrot tops are a little bitter, and that's why they just toss them. But would they be are they good raw?
If you want to eat them raw and you think they taste good, yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But also lightly sautéed, right? It just depends on the person how they want to eat them. But there's they're saying, okay, all of us, our mission, carrots and the carrot tops, is to provide is to help humans.
Okay, it's carrot tops too.
Yes,
all right,
yes,
very
carrot
interesting.
tops too.
Well, what about sunflower leaves? Are they just there to help the sunflower and not there to help the humans? Other than they're making some photosynthesis.
Yeah, they're auxiliary. They're part of the growing structure.
Okay. Interesting. So, carrot tops. Now, carrot tops are green. So we've talked about the two yellow colors are different levels of happiness. And the yellow color gets infused, the yellow happiness gets infused into the seeds when you've got the seeds. But what about the carrot tops?
Well, the carrot tops.
The green carrot tops.
Right. So, because they're part of the whole carrot, they're part of the carrot happiness.
Right, but they're green happiness?
Yeah. So just like there's a difference between the yellow and the orange happiness, there's a little difference between the green and the orange happiness.
Okay, so we've got three different happinesses here.
I know, it's funny.
Before we started this podcast, you mentioned something about colors and chakras. Are these colors like eating, like the yellow good for our yellow chakras, which I think is our solar plexus area? The carrot.
They're saying they don't know really if their color has anything to do with the meaning of the chakras. Okay. They just know that it aligns with them. It aligns with the chakras.
It aligns with the chakras, but it may or may not help the chakras in particular.
Right, exactly. But what is interesting is that green is the next one up, if you're only thinking about the 7 or 8 ones, major ones. And basically all plants and fruits too. I guess all leaves are green, right? The green is the one that connects everything.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. It's the connector.
And it's like green is your heart. So
that's interesting too. So is there a particular wisdom that the sunflowers have for us?
Their wisdom is just the wisdom of the sun.
It is the wisdom of the sun. It's pretty powerful.
Isn't it?
It really is.
It's like burn as bright as you can.
Burn as bright as you can.
Well, perhaps burn is the wrong word.
I was going to say that
shine as bright as you can.
That would be a much better word,
right,
for advice.
Yeah. So that's what they try to do, and that's what they want to give to us, and that's what their advice is to us.
Okay. Shine as bright as you can.
Right.
And what about the carrots? And I'm just going to preface this by saying, do the carrots have different word of wisdom from the carrot itself or the carrot greens?
Yeah, they've got like one that's for the carrots as a whole, carrots and greens. Mm-hmm. And then I guess 2 subsidiary ones. And the whole one is that, okay, it's like they're saying be sturdy.
Be sturdy, stand up.
Be sturdy.
Okay.
You know.
Is it like be sturdy in yourself?
Be sturdy.
It's making me sit up straighter right now.
Be sturdy, meaning that, you know, you want to feel good in your body. I guess they're saying, you know, don't let your muscles go, right? You know, go out and exercise, and then your physiology or your health, right? Make sure you're eating the right stuff, and then mentally be sturdy.
Interesting.
It's like don't go off into negative energies.
Oh, be sturdy. Or maybe it's other energies, like are you a negative, you know, if you're a negative being, if you're not a negative being, then you would be sturdy in your own self. Like lots of times you take on other people's negativity. You're not really being true to yourself when you're being negative.
Right.
And that's the greens and the carrots together.
Right, that's their whole message, right? Mm-hmm. And so the greens message is be more vibrant.
Be more vibrant, okay.
Which is different than the sunflower shine.
Shine, right. Shine as bright as you can.
Vibrant just means so like, you know, it's like your energy is just vibrating faster.
Okay.
And then the orange, they're saying ground yourself.
Now, is that orange or is that partly because it's a root vegetable? Now, is there a particular way that either one of these don't like to be prepared?
Well, I mean, don't roast them until they're charred and black.
What about dehydrating?
Yeah, it's okay.
So lightly roasted, lightly steamed, sauteed.
Yeah.
Raw.
Dehydrated. And raw, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay to blend them in a blender to make them into soups or...
Yeah, they don't, I was going to say they prefer that, but you know, it depends on what the person likes to eat too, but they actually like their molecules to be mixed in with other molecules.
Okay, so they like the combination. I think we're going to have sunflower carrot soup when we're done with this podcast.
And you can have some bright yellow sunflower petals on top.
Absolutely. Is there, is the pollen worth sort of collecting off these and eating it even separately as some kind of really potent elixir? Or tonic or something?
Yeah, okay, they're saying sprinkle it on stuff.
Sprinkle it on stuff. So you could capture it and sprinkle it on stuff, and then it just adds...
It magnifies whatever it is.
It's a magnifier, amplifier or something?
Right, yeah.
The pollen in particular is an amplifier?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. So if you want greater effectiveness from the seeds, I guess, sprinkle some of the pollen on the seeds.
Okay, or if we made a soup out of sunflower and carrot soup, we could sprinkle the pollen on top and it would...
Right. Not only would it look really pretty,
right.
you'd be getting the energy from the color too,
right.
But also you'd be getting the magnified energy of the total.
Is that all pollen or just the sunflower pollen?
You mean all pollen of all plants?
Of all flowers.
Flowers.
Edible flowers. Let's just talk about edible flowers.
They're just speaking for themselves.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Is there, sometimes you walk, you have these areas where they're growing fields and fields and fields of sunflowers. And the sunflower always is fun to look at because of the joy you can see coming out of that field, but also the sunflowers follow the sun with their faces across the field. And so they're all looking the same way at the same time. Mm-hmm. Is that something really spiritually powerful for this world? Is it something that can be transformative?
I was just thinking about the various religions that have got prayer rituals. Do they do anything with the position of the sun?
Well, a lot of them do. They face certain directions or face the sun.
Right.
But you mean to the sun? But the sunflowers, when you have a huge field of them and they're all facing the sun, you'd think that there's some kind of energetic that would be sending out either a new consciousness or this happiness that they have in really potent amounts.
No, they're saying no. It's actually they're receiving all this stuff.
They're receiving it from the sun at that point.
Right, yeah. No anything.
So a big grid like that is just receiving a lot of bright, shining happiness from the sun.
Right.
To share with us later.
Right. Yes.
And can you get any of it by just looking at them?
Oh, definitely. Just because of the colors, the yellow and the green.
Okay. So when you soak up some of that consciousness just by looking at them.
Right. It's not that they're sending out anything. It's that the colors themselves, if the colors are sending out stuff, but just the colors themselves, we see them, we react to the colors.
Okay, interesting. Now, do they have little energy fields around them individually?
I'm asking them. They're saying kind of. Just like everything has got an energy field around it.
Okay. Interesting.
Their energy fields are nothing special.
Well, sometimes they say flowers have a certain energy field around them that attracts bees, that helps bees locate them or something, or pollinators of some kind. But they're not really saying anything one way or the other.
They're saying the color.
It's the color that attracts the insects.
Right.
The pollinators, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then one last question, I think it's my last question. What about sunflowers that you grow yourself versus sunflowers that you get in the flower stores?
Well, depending on how you grow them, they could be much, much, much more energetic, right? You don't know how the ones that are commercially grown are grown. They could be kind of a little less happy.
I see. What about the ones I'm growing?
Out there? No, they're happy.
But not the happiest.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle
Cars
of
and noise.
I'm in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
So, okay. So they'd be happier. Would they be happier in my backyard?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being out in the front yard, because I don't have good sun space in my backyard, because my backyard is fairly wooded.
Well, okay, yeah. So it's wherever there's the most sun.
And the fairies that are in there, they just disappear. They just kind of disintegrate when the flower's gone, and then they reappear. Or do we actually get some fairy energy when we?
Well, we also get some fairy energy.
Okay. Some flower fairy energy. So in general, are carrots and sunflowers part of? Can we use them as a way to expand our consciousness?
We can use them as a way to expand our joyfulness.
Our joyfulness. Okay.
Which in turn affects expanding consciousness.
Okay. Awesome.
So there's this indirect chain.
Are there any questions from the audience?
At this point, I can't understand them.
These are the people that are, or they're not the people, but the beings that came to watch us do this podcast today.
No, I mean, they were listening, they're nodding their heads and whatever, right? But, and I do sense that they want to say something, but like I said, at this point, I can't understand them.
All right. I think.
I'm just like thinking still of the audience.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just see these waving of arms, you know.
Like they got their hands up?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I can't understand what you're saying.
In English, please. In English, please. Maybe in French, but not in...
Yeah. Maybe next time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sunflowers. Thank you, carrots. Thank you, sunflower seeds. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, sunflowers and seeds and carrots and carrot greens.
Carrot greens, although the tops aren't here with us personally. They're in spirit. There's little pieces of the tops here, which we're going to certainly add to our test of a smoothie delight. All right.
Well, this was quite an experience.
It really was quite an experience. And who knew that the carrots and the sunflowers would like to be together today and would like to be combined in other ways too. Thank you very much. That's all for this episode of the 1 to 9 podcast. Thank you for listening, and please sign up for our newsletter at 1to9podcast.com.